Look around you. Everything feels perfectly still. The floor is solid. The walls are not moving. The world feels calm and frozen in place. But that stillness is an illusion. Right now, you're moving faster than a jet plane. At the equator, the Earth spins at over 1,600 kilometers per hour, and it carries you with it every second of your life. You do not feel it, because everything around you moves at the exact same speed. The ground, the air, the oceans, your own body, all of it racing together in perfect sync. But what if it stopped? Not slowed down, stopped, instantly. If that happened, you would have about 1 second to react before the world tore itself apart. And that 1 second would be the last calm moment in human history. Let's find out exactly what would happen, second by second. The moment the ground stops, you do not. Your body, every car, every building, the very air around you, all of it keeps moving at 1,600 kilometers per hour. In that first instant, you would be thrown sideways faster than a bullet, along with everything around you. Forests would be ripped from the soil. Mountains would crack. Coastlines would shatter. But you would not even have time to understand what was happening. The atmosphere would become the deadliest force on the planet. A wall of wind would sweep across every continent, flattening cities and stripping the land bare in minutes. This single wind would make the strongest hurricane ever recorded feel like a gentle breeze. The friction alone would heat the air enough to start firestorms across the globe. And then there are the oceans. All the water in every sea was spinning too, and it would not stop. Unimaginable tsunamis, kilometers high, would surge across the planet, racing toward the poles and drowning entire countries. The waves would not stop at the coastline. They would push hundreds of kilometers inland, swallowing everything in their path. Earthquakes would shake every continent at once, as the planet's crust violently absorbed the sudden change. Within a single day, the world we know would be gone. It is a terrifying picture. But here is the truth. The Earth will never stop spinning instantly. That is physically impossible. There is no force in the universe that could freeze a planet in place in a single moment. So that catastrophe, as dramatic as it sounds, will never actually happen. So let's ask a much more interesting question. What if the Earth stopped slowly, gently, over millions of years? This is not impossible at all. In fact, our planet is already slowing down right now. The moon's gravity gently pulls on our oceans, and that drag is stretching our day longer by a tiny fraction every century. Hundreds of millions of years ago, a day on Earth was only about 22 hours long. So imagine that process continuing far into the future until the spin finally stops. No giant winds, no deadly tsunamis. Nothing gets thrown anywhere. Instead, something far stranger happens. The entire planet quietly reshapes itself. And we are only halfway through this story. The strangest part is still ahead. To understand it, we need to talk about the shape of the Earth. Our planet is not a perfect sphere. It spins, and that spin pushes material outward at the middle. This makes the Earth bulge at the equator, like a ball being gently squeezed. That bulge is huge. The equator sticks out about 21 kilometers farther than the poles. If you stand at sea level on the equator, you're actually farther from the center of the Earth than someone standing at the North Pole. And that bulge is the only reason our oceans are spread out the way they are. The spinning planet flings the water outward, holding the seas in a thick band around the middle of the world. So now, slowly, take the spin away. Without it, the bulge has nothing holding it up. Gravity takes over completely. And gravity wants to pull all that water toward the poles. The oceans would begin a slow migration, draining away from the middle of the planet. Continent by continent, the seas would creep north and south, abandoning the warm center of the world. Over time, the seas would gather into two enormous oceans, one around the North Pole and one around the South Pole. And the middle of the Earth, the entire equator, would rise up out of the water. A single, gigantic continent would appear, wrapping all the way around the planet. The world map you grew up with would simply cease to exist. Picture it. One unbroken ring of land circling the globe, separating two giant polar seas. You could, in theory, walk all the way around the Earth without ever crossing an ocean. This single supercontinent would be larger than every landmass we know today combined. Familiar places would be unrecognizable. Coastal cities would be left stranded, hundreds of kilometers from any sea. Other regions, once dry, would vanish completely beneath the new polar oceans. The deep interior of this giant continent could become a vast desert, too far from any coast for rain to ever reach it. Every map, every border, every coastline humans have ever drawn would be erased. But the new shape of the land is only half of the transformation. Because when the spin stops, something even more fundamental stops with it: the day itself. On our spinning Earth, one day lasts 24 hours. On a still Earth, a single day would last one full year. 6 months of constant blazing sunlight. Then 6 months of frozen total darkness. The sunlit side would slowly bake. The dark side would freeze solid. Temperatures would swing between brutal extremes that almost nothing could survive. Only a thin ring between them, a band of endless sunrise, might stay mild enough for life. Along that narrow strip, the sun would sit forever on the horizon, never rising, never setting. It would be the last comfortable place on a deeply hostile planet. And there is one more invisible problem. Deep inside the Earth, the spinning of the molten metal core helps generate our magnetic field. That magnetic field is a shield. It protects us from deadly radiation streaming off the sun. It is the reason our atmosphere has not been stripped away into space, like what happened to Mars billions of years ago. If the planet stopped, that shield would weaken, leaving the surface far more exposed. Slowly, over time, the sun itself would begin to erode the very air we breathe. So whether it happens in 1 second or over 1 million years, the message is the same. The spin of our planet is not just a background detail. It builds the shape of our world. It spreads our oceans. It gives us day and night. It shapes our climate, our seasons, and the rhythm of every living thing on Earth. It even helps power the invisible shield that keeps us alive. We never think about it because we have never known anything else. Every sunrise, every tide, every calm and ordinary day, all of it depends on emotion we cannot even feel. But you are spinning through space right now at 1,600 kilometers per hour, and that motion is quietly holding your entire world together. So here is my question for you. If something so powerful can be completely invisible to us, what else about our planet are we taking for granted? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if you want to keep exploring how our world really works, subscribe and come with us on the next journey. The planet still has so many secrets left to tell.